So I think it's the grid here in Brazil, you're correct, is very green. It's hydroelectric, I think, in large part. But as I understand too, it's somewhat unreliable, the transmission. And so there has to be a lot of generator backups. And so while your basic energy is very green, those times when it has to go on generator backup, not as green. So anytime you're trying to reduce energy demand, it's a good thing, whether or not your actual source is very green. It comes into the economic aspects of it, whether you're wasting it or not. So if you have, just from a business perspective, just ignore the green part of it. Just ignore, think of, I don't know if your bills are green or not. Like American bills are green, and money is green. So we think of green both in green in ecological sense and green in the economic sense. And so wasting anything is not a good thing. So wasting energy, even though it may be abundant and or green, is still an economic hardship on your business. And so we think it's a bad idea to waste reais when you don't have to. And so we want to provide, the ideal is, whether you're thinking about it from a power usage effectiveness, carbon usage effectiveness, water usage effectiveness, is the basic you're looking at is we want as little total use as possible, and we want all the energy devoted just to the critical resource. So we want all the energy to go to your servers, to your storage, because that's doing the real work. If you have energy going to cooling or wasting energy in your transmission or distribution systems, that's just a waste. That's a waste. You may as well burn your reais. it's of no use. It's of less use. Now that's if your business is such, if you're a bank, let's say, and you have to provide a lot of extra redundancies, I understand that. And it's going to be less efficient than something that does not have to be as reliable and have as much uptime requirements. But you can still design it in such a way that it is scalable in its energy use with demand. It will be as energy efficient as one that's built where it doesn't care on its uptime, but it is still, it's a relative scale. You're just trying to be greener. You'll never be totally green, because you always use some energy to make something happen.
Okay.
Yeah, really what we need is a data source that shows those climate zones. So we need to find a source of that data. If we could find that understands in a city by, well, even because there's a lot of interesting areas are not in cities. A lot of your data we get, it's at the airport. Well, unless you build your data center at the airport, it's not going to help you if it's on a mountain near the airport or out in the countryside. So we need to find the data sources that provide that sort of temperature, humidity data that sort of an hourly level even throughout the year. And once we provide that, then we can provide a better map of. So we have currently maps for U.S. and Canada is one map, Europe and Asia I think is another map I showed. We have one for Japan, and the best ones are really in the U.S. because we have data not just for cities, but also we have weather service feedback that is every few kilometers, and so we get a very nice, widespread, very granular set of data. Europe is, the data sources in Europe are not as good. Same with Japan, they're like one per city, and so we just need the data. We can generate a map for South America, but it'll probably look and be as useful as some of the ones that we have that have less data. To start, yeah. So if you could take the U.S. data and say if you're in Sao Paulo, and say, well, that's like Miami. I think just look at the year and look at the temperature and humidity types. If it looks similar, swap in 6 months, and that would be São Paulo, let's say, or Rio, or where, I guess Rio would probably be more equivalent since they're right on the ocean, but find something that is similar. So that's a good thought, is to find someplace else that has very good data. I've heard a lot of interest even here and last year when I was here for trying to find ways of being more energy efficient and resource efficient. And some were, in fact, talking today for somebody who's in the banking industry. Can we really make a green tier 4 data center? I said, well, yes, you can. You make it greener. I say this. Green data center, I think that we may never get there. Maybe we'll in 2030. But you're trying to be better. You're trying to get better. You're trying to waste less. And so if you have a tier 4 data center here in São Paulo for the bank, for instance, well, have you implemented variable speed fans? Have you implemented on your chiller plant variable speed pumps? The energy consumption for a fan or a pump increases as a cubic of the frequency of spinning. So the faster it goes, the energy consumption goes up a cubic for that speed. And so obviously then as you turn those down, energy consumption goes down as a cube. So that's a huge energy decrease if you can take advantage of that. So your data center is designed to not go down on the worst hour of the worst day of the year. And if it is not able to reduce its energy consumption when the load is not the peak demand of the worst day of the year, then you're wasting energy. And so the better you can turning down those, save a lot of energy. Save a lot of lives. So when you have metrics that are well accepted, whether it's PUE, power usage, effectiveness, WUE, water, carbon, whatever it is, you start to measure it, and you provide the data center maturity model, which gives you goals to strive for. Then I was really surprised when we came out with power usage effectiveness in 2007. So 5 years ago, we came out with PUE. And the goal there initially, what we thought the goal was just continuous improvement. So you see how you are today, you see all this waste. And PUE scores back in 2007 weren't 1.5, 1.6, they were 2 and 3. You're wasting more energy cooling than you were in providing energy to your servers. That just blew our minds. It's like, okay, I'm a server designer and I'm trying to make my servers more energy efficient, but no matter how energy efficient I make my server, and your PUE is 2 or 3, it's not my fault. It's the infrastructure's fault. So that's why we focused on the infrastructure first. The first 5 years of the green grid was focused on it entirely on this infrastructure problem because there was so much waste. What surprised me was how quickly the industry reacted to that. We had, within a couple of years, companies like Google come back and say, oh, we have a PUE of 1.1 or 1.0 or 1.05. And my first reaction was, you're lying. There's no way you can make that happen. But they really opened my eyes to, okay, well, it's an example of, whether it's Google or the eBay case we're talking about. It's an example of if you have parts of your data center that do not need to be tier 4, that think about deploying cooling in new ways, then really opened my eyes to the possibilities of, well, you're right. You can turn off the chiller. You can turn down your fans You can play with a lot of different ways of getting your energy use down. And by providing PUE as a metric, it was not just, as I thought originally it was a way of showing continuous improvement. It also provided a challenge to get to 1.0, which you probably will never get to, because the second law of thermodynamics probably doesn't allow you to, but you can approach it as an ideal and almost get there. It's just amazing to me that we provided not only a way to improve, but a goal. So that those metrics provide a way to measure your progress, but also they define where you should get to. And so if you think about that as every metric you come out with as not only a way to measure progress, but as a goal, that's an interesting way of thinking about how you're driving the world. You're providing a vision for perfection, a vision for where you should strive to be.